What's good? How y'all doing this evening?
What's going on? What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the FILA Sports Podcast. That's the Forever I Love Atlanta Sports Podcast. And tonight we're coming to you with our Wednesday night show for Rivalry Week. It's your boy, Coach Mario, and also the person who puts all this together, my
How y'all
co-host,
doing
Don.
this
What's going on,
evening?
man?
Thank y'all for joining us this Wednesday. Rivalry week is back, and finally, we're talking about those dogs. I know a lot of people have been waiting for us to talk about UGA, but here it goes. This is Georgia's first true test of the season. We facing this Saturday night. If you're new to the channel, you already know what to do. Hit that like button. Also, hit that subscribe button. We on the way to 500 subscribers. We want to get there as soon as possible. Also, hit us up in the comments section and share this content out with other Atlanta sports fanatics and Georgia collegiate fanatics. As always, at your
Come holla.
hometown sports podcast, we have a special guest on the show. Connor McJunkin. Is it McJunkin or McJunkin?
McJunkin. Yeah, McJunkin.
All right, McJunkin. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell them where you from and what you do.
My name's Connor McJunkin. I'm from originally from Central Florida. Currently live in southeastern Kentucky. I'm a assistant coach for the University of the Cumberlands up here, an NAIA school. And then I'm also been a writer with Slap the Sign. It's a fan-sided Notre Dame website. I've been writing for them for about a year and a half now. So I'm just a huge Notre Dame fan and sports fan in general, and excited to be here today to talk a little Notre Dame football.
Hey, so I didn't know you coached at Crumlins. I got a kid up there, KJ Hunter. You know him?
I do know KJ. Yep.
And tell him I said hey, man.
Ab-
We'll talk a little bit after the show. We'll talk a little bit after the
Absolutely.
show.
Small world, man. Small world.
Exactly. Like, trust me. I look that I love that boy. But anyway, on to the show. Thank you for coming on today, Coach. Go ahead and go through the scores for the week for this past week and the games that's coming up.
Yeah, let me run down, man. UGA 55-0. We had Arkansas State. Georgia Tech, we took one on the chin. Lost to the Citadel at home. Well, obviously we were playing at home. We were playing the Citadel. 27-24. Tough one for Coach Collins, man. Tough one. I don't even want to talk about it. Tech has a bye this week, and next week they come back with Temple, and that'll be very interesting because Coach Collins and the current staff at Tech came from Temple, so that'll be very interesting. Georgia State lost to Western Michigan 57-10. Yes, 57 points. They gave up 57 points. This week they take on Texas State. That is Saturday. That is a 7 p.m. start, and you can catch it on ESPN Plus. Georgia Southern lost a heartbreaker 32-35 to Minnesota. Minnesota scored, what was it, 13 seconds left, Don? They threw the touchdown pass with 13 seconds left to take the lead. Georgia Southern will be at home Saturday versus Louisiana Lafayette, 6 p.m. You can catch that one on ESPN Plus as well. They dropped Georgia Southern to 1-2 on the year, but they played well, and the teams they lost to were bigger Division I schools. So expect Georgia Southern to start winning some games. Yeah, they got a good team. Yeah, I mean, they should have beat Minnesota. Man, I was watching the game, man. My heart dropped. Kennesaw State won 42-7 versus the Alabama State Hornets. Saturday they take on Missouri State 3 p.m. You can catch that one on ESPN. Kennesaw State is now 1-1. Valdosta State still rolling. They won 48-21. They played Ohio Dominican. They have Saturday. They have Saturday they're home versus West Alabama. That'll be a good one. That'll be a good one. That'll be a conference game too. So Valdosta State got a conference game Saturday. They're at home. Morehouse lost to Miles College 21-45. That drops Morehouse to 1-2 on the year. Clark Atlanta drops to 0-2. They lost to Allen University. They'll be at home on James P. Brawley Drive to take on Central State Saturday at 6 p.m. So all my black college band lovers go down there to see. Look, I'm talking about go see the band, not even the football team. Ain't that messed up, done? And that brings us to the current topic of tonight. UGA versus Notre Dame, getting it on this weekend, this Saturday night, 8 p.m. CBS
It's
national
a home
broadcast.
game. They'll be playing at Sanford Stadium. Now, if you can't go to if you can't go to the game because tickets is high, you already know it's the homecoming week. We're gonna be hanging out in Manny's Grant Park, downtown Atlanta. So you're more than welcome to come hang out with us and watch the game. You know, they have a bar there. They have food there. Hey, bring your own money. You just buy what you need to buy. Hang out with us. We appreciate that. Everybody in the chat, before we start, how's the audio sounding right now? All right. So just tell me how the audio sounding, and we'll keep it moving. But I want to go and say hello to everybody in the chat. That Georgia Boy 17, he said UGA. I-20 Eric, he said go Dogs. Cookie by Nature, he said, hey, go Beasley. That's my Beasley. Justin Clark, J.R. Clark from Pound for Pound. How you doing, man? I-20 Eric, he said every loss that Georgia State takes makes Tennessee look even worse. LOL. And Cookie by Nature, he said,
ooh.
Cookie by Nature said, I mean,
yeah.
He said, I mean, I'll go see an HBCU band just for the band. And then that Georgia Boy 17 said,
hey, y'all ever see Clark? Y'all know about the brown sugar dancers? Woo!
That Georgia Boy 17 said HBCU bands is the main event. J.R. Clark said pretty good, sound pretty good. He said y'all good today. Thank you. It ain't look. I'm jerry rigging it right now, but we will get it fixed. So, hey, just gotta do what you gotta do. So go ahead and start with the topic real quick, Coach.
All right, we'll jump right in. We'll jump right into it, man. All right, so dogs, UGA fans, if y'all don't know, the biggest thing that I think we'll have to deal with coming this Saturday night is a guy named Ian Book. And if you don't know him, he's a dual threat quarterback. He became the starter last year, completed 68% of his passes. This year, he has 553 yards, 6 TDs, no interceptions, and he leads their team in rushing attempt and yards. So we all know that if you want to call it the Kirby defense or the Nick defense or the Mel Tucker or whatever whose defense, you know that mobile quarterbacks can hurt any defense. But we know that mobile quarterbacks can be the Achilles heel, certainly of a cover 2 scheme or a cover 3 scheme.
So with Ian Book, I wrote about it earlier this week. He needs to basically ball out. I mean, I guess if Notre Dame wants to be in this game, he's going to be the focal point of the whole offense. So far through 2 games, Notre Dame's kind of with all the O-line talent they brought back, they've still kind of struggled to run the ball, which is why Ian Book he's actually tied for the lead right now in rushing yards on the team. And Notre Dame lost a couple guys. Had a few guys injured. That their tight end Cole Kmet, he should be back this week. This is his first. It'll be the first game he's played this year. But basically with Ian Book, he's a dual threat guy that when he's hot, and when he's not, I mean, the whole offense struggles, and he needs to step up on a big stage. This is I see it as kind of a redemption game. Last year against Clemson, he looked rattled. He looked uncomfortable the whole game. He didn't play well. The offense was out of rhythm the whole night, and he had NFL talent all around him. So I mean, he's got to play well, get the ball to his playmakers, make plays with his feet, avoid sacks, move the chains, just not make mistakes, and kind of do what he's done throughout his career, which is he's accurate in the short to medium range stuff. He can extend plays, but he's gotta hit the deep passes when he can. That's something he struggled with. Deep ball accuracy has been kind of an Achilles heel with him. Sometimes he gets a little happy in the pocket and bails before he needs to. But overall, I mean, he's the gear that gets the whole offense going. And if he brings it and shows up, I mean, Notre Dame's got a pretty good chance. But if he struggles, it's going to be hard all night to keep up with Georgia for 4 quarters.
I mean, and you know, I I think it's that's the game. I mean, in my opinion, if I don't, I might be a homer here, but I don't see Notre Dame winning without Ian Book being an MVP type player that night. You know, I think that's the whole game right now. Georgia has to get some hits on them. I hate to say that, we're talking about college kids, but we got to hit the kid. We got to get some hits on him. We have to mix up some coverages, but that's the whole game. Slowing down Ian Book and really, I think more so on the ground. I mean, obviously you don't want to throw for 500 yards, but if he's gonna run for 150 yards, it's gonna be a long night for Georgia. It's gonna be a long night. What you think, Don?
Yeah, pretty much what you said, man. They gotta put pressure on Book, man. If they don't put pressure on Book, it's gonna be a long night for UGA. I just really don't. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I don't trust UGA secondary that much, so it really gonna have to rely on the pass rush and Georgia's D line to pretty much get the job done.
Which has been I don't want to say a surprise, but definitely we're getting more production out of the D line in the first couple of games than we did last year. I think last year Georgia had 24 sacks all year. They have 12 already this year. I mean, you can say we hadn't got into conference play, of course, yeah, but already. Another key to the game, when we talk about, we all saw Notre Dame's opening game against Louisville. Everybody saw it. No secret. UGA wants to run the football. You don't want to take one game, but the consensus is, Georgia can run all over. We know the strength of the team for Notre Dame last year was the linebackers, and I know this year you guys have some young guys. What is Notre Dame going to do? We know Georgia's going to run it 30 plus times. Notre Dame knows it. What are they going to do to try
Yeah,
to
that's kind of the same way that Ian Book is what the plan is for Notre Dame on offense. It's what Georgia's plan is going to be to run the ball on Notre Dame. That first game, Louisville, the misdirection, like I said, the inexperience really shows, and you kind of take for granted sometimes how good your linebackers are until they're not there making the D line right and sideline to sideline. And Asmar Bilal, he stepped in that first game and he looked 2 steps behind everybody, and then Drew White came in and he's kind of stepped it up a little bit. Bilal had a better game last week against New Mexico, but I think the biggest thing is going to be, because the secondary for Notre Dame is one of their strong points. It's the front 7. I think what really needs to happen is the front 4 really need to step it up. The D line, their production's been a little bit, I don't want to say disappointing, but with the experience that they returned, the only person they lost was Jerry Tillery. I mean, first round NFL talent, but he's really the biggest name they lost, and they return everybody else, including Khalid Kareem, Julian Aquara. They're 2 edge rushers who will be NFL caliber guys. So I think if those front 4 can step up and help make the linebackers' lives easier, then I think Notre Dame can maybe make that Georgia run game not as effective as they might want it. And then, because I think ultimately Notre Dame's game plan is going to be try to shut down the run and then make Jake Fromm beat you, which it's still a double-edged sword because he can do that, but they'd rather have that than Georgia run for 400 yards on them. So,
I mean, it completely baffles me. It completely baffles me how that we haven't seen teams when they play Georgia do more of what LSU did last year. Load up 8 in the box, bring safeties. I mean, I'm completely baffled when I'm seeing teams just sitting in cover 2. Like, man, they know we're going to run the ball 30 times. Like,
right.
LSU kind of put the blueprint out there. Like, I'm complete now. Every team doesn't have the one-on-one cover skills that LSU DBs have. But
right.
Every week when I'm watching, I'm like, so we got another team that's gonna play quarters against Georgia. Whoo, it's not gonna work. We'll run back through before we move to the next topic. We'll run back through the chat. I20 Eric says, Notre Dame's wide receivers are no joke either. Chase Claypool is 6'4", 229. Javon McKinley is 6'2", 220. They will test Stokes and Campbell all night. Ooh, that will be a matchup. How do you feel about you guys wide receivers?
Yeah, I think that again it all comes back to Ian Book, but I think that's going to be one of the big points of the game, especially with Jafar Armstrong, Notre Dame starting running back, who got hurt in week 1. So it's kind of a running back by committee with some inexperienced guys. So they're going to really lean on that passing game. And Chase Claypool, he looks like an absolute monster. Like you said, he's put on some weight. He looks more fluid. He's going to be an NFL guy next year. Chris Fink, he's a fifth-year senior. He's going to be that slot guy, the possession receiver. McKinley had kind of a coming-out party last week against New Mexico. 2 touchdowns, had that top 10 play, broke 4 or 5 tackles against New Mexico. And then, like I said, Cole Kmet, their tight end, who broke his collarbone about a month ago. This is going to be his first game of the season, and he's a Mackey Award watch list guy. So Notre Dame, they have the receiving threats all over the field. It's just going to be, up to Ian Book to buy time and get the ball to them and try to carve them up as much as he can.
Hey, and one thing I want to say about Ian Book, we talked about him running the football, but I told you guys this guy completed 68% of his passes last year. I told you guys that for a reason. He can't throw the football. I mean, he reminds me a little bit of Aaron Murray a couple years ago, just with quicker to take off. But everybody know Aaron Murray, UGA's quarterback, especially his freshman and sophomore year, he would get up out of there. So because they're kind of similar in stature. Ian Book isn't a huge guy, but he can throw the football. He's just not a runner back there. He can throw the football. I want everybody to be aware of that. And I-20 Eric also says Louisville ran for 249 on Notre Dame, and New Mexico ran for 210. And that's why I'm thinking that Eric, that
and J.R. Clark said that he thinks the Dogs will run all day.
I'm gonna be surprised that I know what Notre Dame normally runs, but if we're not gonna see them load up 8 at some point early in the first or second quarter to establish, I'm gonna be surprised. Like, how do you think that'll happen at all, Connor?
No, I think they have to do something different. I mean, if you're they're 120th in the nation right now in rushing yards per game allowed. I mean, you can't, and that's, like I said, against Louisville, New Mexico. So they're going to have to, rely on that secondary, the experience of the secondary. They're going to have to just, play man and win those one-on-one matchups, and then let those, front 7 put 8 in the box and force Georgia to throw it on them. I think that's what they're going to have to do. They can't, you can't let Georgia control the line of scrimmage all game and just wear and tear and, ground and pound on you for 4 quarters, because, Notre Dame doesn't have a shot if that happens.
I'm a huge Jake Fromm guy, but if I'm facing Jake Fromm, I'm going to make Jake Fromm beat me, because I'm sorry, I know Swift can beat me.
Right.
I'm sorry, I know that offensive line can beat me. So, I'm a huge Jake guy, but he's going to have to prove it to me if I was facing him, One thing I found very before we move, key matchup will be as well. You touched on earlier the secondary for Notre Dame, not so experienced, some 2- and 3-year starters back there, and right now we know Georgia's leading receivers are freshmen, and basically we lost our top 5 pass catchers from last year. How do you feel about the matchup with the secondary versus our inexperienced?
Yeah, no, I think that's the area where Notre Dame, I think, has the advantage. Like you said, Notre Dame, they lost Julian Love, he was an All-American corner, but you bring back Alohi Gilman and Jalen Elliott. You got Sean Crawford, who missed all last year with a knee injury, but he's back. He's a 3-year starter. Troy Pride Jr. And then the true freshman, Kyle Hamilton, who's from Atlanta, who's he's been balling out the last 2 games as a true freshman. Had a pick 6 last week. I imagine he's going to still get a lot of quality snaps. But that's the strength of the defense right now, and they need to really rely on that against, like you said, an inexperienced receiving core. Kind of the same way Georgia is going to try to, use their experienced offensive line to ground and pound on an inexperienced linebacking core. So it's kind of, each team is going to be playing chess like that, and whichever team's, can kind of exploit it the best is going to have the upper hand.
Yeah. One thing that I did find interesting that I'm shocked now. This was 2 days ago. I didn't check today, but I know 2 days ago, UGA by 13 and a half. Man, I thought that was big. Georgia's my favorite. I'm a huge UGA fan, but man, I thought that was big. Did that get around South Bend, or is that going through the Fighting Irish? You guys feeling a little disrespected
I
there?
think this team, especially Brian Kelly, this whole offseason with because Notre Dame's got, they play at Georgia, at Michigan, at Stanford. They've kind of, put in that road warrior mentality, which is something they've tried to hone in on all offseason. And I don't think they're really paying attention to that. I know, it doesn't surprise me too much. A lot of people think that, especially after how Notre Dame looked against Clemson. People just they don't trust in big games. I can't blame them. I mean, it's been kind of the crutch for Notre Dame for as long as I can remember. Big games, and they just kind of fail to show up. Miami 2016 and things like that, or 2017, sorry. So, at 13 and a half, that feels about right. I don't think it's going to be that big, but I mean, you ask Paul Feinbaum or some of these other talking heads, and they think Georgia's going to win by 35. So, it is what it is. Usually it can go either way, but 13 and a half, it seems a little big. I think it won't be, that big of a margin, but
I was thinking like 8.5, something like 8.5, something like that. When I saw that 13 number, I was like, whoa, that's big. What do you think about that? Like the point spread being 13 and a half. Yeah.
Me. I don't think we go blow Notre Dame out of the water like that. Like we go probably win by 10 or 14 points.
And like I said, this was 2 days ago, so if it's changed and anybody looked at it, let us know the current line. But I just thought, man, 13 and a half on Tuesday, because sometimes Sundays and then Monday it'll go down, but I'm like, Tuesday 13 and a half, man. Going back in the chat real quick, that Georgia boy said he think UGA's wide receivers are starting to come into a groove. I mean, and until that Georgia boy, until somebody challenges us and we have to throw the football, we really won't know what we have. I want to see us get challenged, so we'll see what we have. I-20 Eric says Louisville showed you can use misdirection to beat Notre Dame's defense. Coley has put a few of those wrinkles into this offense this year. Louisville, I-20 Eric been studying that Louisville tape against y'all. He also said he feels Pickens will feast this game, and Pickens is sick, man. That kid is sick. Sick. Him and Jaden Hazelwood are sick. Anyway, Jaden Hazelwood from Cedar Grove, Oklahoma. I-20 Erica also said Robertson should also have a good game. Yeah, man, Robertson, he got all the talent, man. We just gotta, And one thing people have to understand, like me and my homeboy have a debate all the time about Jaden Hazelwood and why he chose Georgia. I have no problem with Georgia's offense. But we're gonna run the ball 30 times. Like, we're not gonna throw the if you think you're about to get 10 targets, you're not. Especially one guy in our offense, a wide receiver, you're not. We're gonna run the football. So, I think Pickens can go off, but and Robertson, but we're just not gonna get that many targets. They're not. And once we get up, Kirby's definitely gonna run the football. He wants to close the game out. That's Kirby's philosophy. Yeah. And one more comment. I-20 Eric said his X factor is Eli Wolf. Got to get him going early, and that's a tight end we got from Tennessee, right? Ain't that where Wolf come from, Eric? Tennessee, tight end from Tennessee. We seen him and from hook up a few times, and maybe he can find some room over the middle. And I got to throw you a curveball, Connor. I have to ask you.
All right.
Just off the top of your head, some of your favorite.
Of all time.
Yeah.
Well, when I started really getting into Notre Dame football, just personally watching, Brady Quinn, Jeff Samardzija, those two right off the bat, all-time favorites. Anthony Fasano, Maurice Stovall, the throwback Charlie Weiss era kind of guys. More recently, Manti Te'o, Jalen Smith, those two of the best linebackers in Notre Dame history. Manti Te'o, that 2012 year, 2012, had one of the best defensive seasons ever. Aside from all the fake girlfriend stuff.
I wasn't gonna bring it up.
I know. Everyone brings it up anyway. I'll just get it out of the way. And then, I mean, most recently, Quentin Nelson. I played offensive line in college, and he's always just been he's a mauler, a brawler. He's doing the same thing in the NFL. Zach Martin too. Notre Dame's kind of been a O-line U these last 5, 6, 7 years, and they've just produced some monsters. And those are some of my favorite guys.
You don't like Golden Tate?
Oh, I mean, I'm a Giants fan too, actually. So I love Golden Tate. I love the receiver wearing a 23 number. That was always my favorite, and him jumping in the band against Michigan State, and he always found ways to get open. He's only like 5'11". I love that about him. He's a baller.
Well, Connor, I got something to tell you.
Go ahead, Connor.
You go hate me, Connor.
Oh boy, you Cowboy fan?
Oh no.
No.
You see all that Falcon stuff back here?
No, that's true. Yeah, no, you're right. I was just making sure. That's easy.
No.
We almost blocked you on Twitter.
All right. I support the Bulldogs. I support Tech. I support a lot of Georgia schools. But I am a Michigan Wolverine fan.
Oh man. So you're kind of in the same boat as being overrated every year, just like Notre Dame.
Oh, shit.
Hey, until we can beat I can take the slander. I can take the slander. Until we can beat Ohio State, then hey, it's fine.
I'm the same way. I mean, I just got to take the punches with the Notre Dame stuff. I mean, they can play well. And then these big kind of games, like I thought it'd be different against Clemson, and then they lay a goose egg. So it's the same kind of boat. I definitely understand your pain.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So I got a question. Jerome Bettis or Herschel Walker? Started with you, Coach. Yeah.
That's
Jerome
a real question?
Bettis or Herschel Walker?
Well, I think Herschel Walker is one of the top 5 college football players of all time, and I don't think Jerome Bettis is. So there's the answer. Y'all be mad at me if I told who I thought the best college football player was of all time. I get blasted. Matter of fact, I'm about to tell y'all now, so I can get blasted. Everybody in the chat, go ahead and blast me. Tim Tebow was the greatest college football player ever.
Man. But anyway, hold on. All right, I'm gonna have Connor. All right, Connor. Jerome Bettis or Herschel Walker?
Nah, yeah, I gotta go Herschel Walker. I mean, freak athlete, out of this world. I mean, Jerome Bettis, man, he's the bus. I mean, he's gonna, he'll pound it for you. But Jerome Bettis in that one. Herschel Walker in that one.
I got one done. I got one. Hines Ward. I got one. Hines Ward or
I was about to say that. About to say that. I swear to God. I was about to say that. All right.
Minds think alike. See, we do agree on some stuff, done.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I
go with Tim
Brown. As a player, I used to like Hines Ward. Somebody lately, and I don't know if Devontae in the chat right now or not. Somebody lately just reminds me of Hines Ward that just made me just not like Hines Ward anymore. I'm talking about no. So, but anyway, real talk, just get back on track. Tim Brown. Got to be Tim Brown.
Dude, I think, NFL careers, were, pretty Hall of Fame worthy, but Tim Brown he was one of the best NFL receivers for 10 straight years, won a Heisman in college. It's hard to argue with that.
Tim Brown was the man. Tim Brown was when I was even as a kid. I was amazed at how big that dude was. Like, he plays receiver. Like,
he was the Julio Jones before Julio Jones. I don't know if a lot of people remember. Yes. He played for the Raiders. So.
Yeah. I have to let you know, Connor. Typically, I'm the older statesman, so I think I-20 Eric got a couple years on him, but typically. In our Twitter and our chat, I'm the older guy, so sometimes I bring up stuff and they be like, "Huh?" I'm like, oh.
Who are you talking about?
Y'all weren't born. I'm sorry. All right, so well, I'm sorry. Do we have any more comments in the chat? Oh, I-20 Eric said he's a Brady Quinn fan.
Yep.
So he goes there, and that Georgia boy, they owe me about Tebow. I'm sorry, yeah, he was the best, and I'm a UGA fan. I couldn't stand that dude, and for me to say he's the best, that dude was college. All right, so picks predictions. Don, what do you think gonna happen Saturday? You pretty much already said it, but
I
say
think
again what you think gonna
Bulldogs
happen Saturday.
win. It'll be, I say 35 to what? 35-24, something like that.
Man, we very similar. What you well, I'll let our guest go last. I think that the like I said, key to the game, our running game, stopping Ian Book. I think UGA gets it done. I think it'll be like 32-17, somewhere around in there. So similar point spread done somewhere in there.
Yeah, I think one big thing is Notre Dame's going to have to kind of open up their playbook a little bit, misdirection stuff, kind of what the guy in the chat said about what Louisville did to Notre Dame. They got to kind of do the same thing. I think Notre Dame will keep it close. They got to weather the storm early, in Athens, college game day. They're gonna keep it close. I think Ian Book's gonna play well, but I see it being 34-24 was my prediction for Georgia. I think it'll be something like 24-27, then Georgia scores late, kind of puts it away. That's kind of how I see it unfolding.
All right.
Hold on, before you go
back to the chat real quick.
Everybody in the chat that's in the chat, go ahead and put y'all predictions in so we can share them.
Yeah, before we get off, I-20 Eric say, why wouldn't I say AJ Green? I was trying to bring up older players, but who would you go with, AJ Green over Tim Brown? I still got to go with Tim. I'm a big AJ guy, but Tim. I mean, AJ is good, but I don't know. That's a good one, Eric. How about AJ and Rocket? AJ and the Rocket.
That's two different kind of players. I mean, I'd probably take AJ in that one. I mean, the Rocket,
he was more of a gadget guy. In today's game, though, woo,
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
you'd be like Tavon Austin type. Yeah, in today's game, you see Rocket line up all over the field. You see him take some wildcat snaps. You see Rocket. Man, you might see Rocket play safety.
I got another one. I got another one.
Go ahead.
Let's see. No.
Goldberg and Zurich.
I got another one. Hold on. Aaron Murray or Jimmy Clausen.
That's a good one.
I mean,
I really think Carolina to give Jimmy Clausen a chance. Right? That's just my opinion. They wanted, you had Jimmy. Now, Jimmy Clausen, this man, they projected this man to be a future, NFL star quarterback. All right, no doubt.
Yeah.
And what happened was he went to Carolina. He got picked in the second round. I want to say in 2010.
Mm-hmm.
Played there 1 year, and then they drafted Cam Newton. Yeah, but here's my thing. In 2015, when Carolina went on that run, I think Carolina could have probably had a better chance winning that Super Bowl with Jimmy Clausen.
Ooh, look, now all y'all who killing me lately on Twitter about my takes, y'all better make sure y'all rough Don up about this one tonight. Don, put that one on Twitter so you can get some heat too. Because I've been having some very unpopular opinions on Twitter since last Thursday, Connor, and boy, they've been killing me. So Don, put that one on Twitter so y'all can get the heat off me. Oh, boy, please put that one on Twitter. Like I say, I mean, I have to admit, I didn't love Aaron Murray his freshman and sophomore years. Aaron Murray used to frustrate me. So I don't know, but I gotta, on Connor, I'm not a big Notre Dame guy, so I'm not gonna vote. Oh, I can't go Jimmy Clausen over whatever. I was never a Stafford guy either. Stafford is my least favorite quarterback of the late. He's my least favorite of the quarterbacks that UGA have had Never. Stafford he wasn't good at Georgia.
So what you
He
like
wasn't.
DJ
Oh my
Shockley?
God, he over Stafford
Oh,
at Georgia.
here you go,
Yes,
man. Oh my
100
goodness.
times. Stafford has elite arm talent. Can DJ make the throws Stafford can throw? No, he can't. DJ can make the throws. But Stafford is also about throwing it to the correct people, throw it in deep ball. He figured it out when he got Calvin Johnson in Detroit, but he threw a terrible deep ball at Georgia. He always overthrew AJ. He would throw that flat, dumb deep. Telling you,
Cause y'all
not
ain't
at
had
UGA, bro.
Okay.
Stafford, man, he had elite. He has his arm talent. You not denying that, Don. Never could deny his arm talent. But you also have to know who and where to throw it to. I didn't love Stafford at UGA, man. Yes, I take DJ 100 times. DJ took us to the SEC championship and won it. What are you talking about? He won the SEC championship. We would have won the national championship if he wasn't hurt that year against Florida.
I remember.
So DJ would have won. We would have won the national championship if we hadn't lost to Florida that year. And DJ was hurt.
I remember.
That Georgia boy said Quincy Carter. Of course, I gotta go. I mean, I can't say Quincy. I graduated and I've known the man since we were this hot. So obviously Quincy. Dang, he gonna be mad at me for not saying him. I hope you don't watch. My bad, Q. I'm sorry. We'll get to the predictions real quick. Trey said he got UGA 34, Notre Dame 24. I-20 Eric has Georgia 34-21. That Georgia boy has 30-20. Eric said, Coach Trivia, what was the Rockets' real name? Ragib Ishmael. How you gonna try me like that? Eric said, and Quadri Ishmael, the missile, was his little brother. And there was another one too that went to Syracuse.
The
what was the other
Rocket,
one?
and the I forgot his name.
The other one went to Syracuse. I can't believe you tried me like that. That's when
The bullet.
Um,
The bullet. I think
that Georgia boy. Bullet. He went to Syracuse, right? Yeah. Hey, I-20 Eric, don't challenge me on my college football now. Y'all look at me on NFL, but don't challenge me on my college. That Georgia boy says David Green and Quincy Carter. I-20 Eric said Jimmy Clausen, man. And I-20 Eric said, give me Eric Zaire over any quarterback before Fromm. Hey, the Z-Man. I can't be mad at Eric Zaire either. Can't be that Georgia I-20 Eric and that Georgia boy, what y'all think about what I said about Stafford? I want to know y'all comments in the chat, or either hit me on Twitter. I just want to know. Anybody else not love Stafford at Georgia?
But as we wait for that, I got some more questions for Connor before we get off. Who you think that's gonna come out of either y'all seniors or some juniors that's going to end up leaving early? Who you think that's going to be successful and get drafted in the 2020 draft?
Great question.
Oh, that is a good question. For starters, I think Ian Book, I think he's going to leave after this year. I think he's got NFL talent. I think he's got a lot to prove and fix. But I think he's going to be, up there. I think Chase Claypool's another one. The dude's he's gotten bigger. He's got the frame. You see Notre Dame receivers have been doing really well, lately in the NFL. Miles Boykin, he scored his first touchdown 2 weeks ago. And he's kind of the similar receiver. I think he's gonna go out in the NFL this year as well. Possibly Cole Kmet. He's got Notre Dame and tight ends. That's another rich history right there. I think if he has the kind of season he's capable of, he's got just as high a ceiling as anybody. And then, of course, the two edge rushers, Aquara, his brother plays for the Lions, and then Khalid Kareem. Those two guys have the chance to be, first, second round talents as well, coming off the edge.
Okay.
Good question.
Yeah.
Good question. That Georgia boy said he liked Matt Stafford. Get out of here. All right, so before we go, Connor, let the people know where they can find you at, where they can read you at. Anything you want to plug. You got any shows coming up? You rap?
No rapping, no mixtapes. We got our first home game tomorrow against Weber International from Central Florida. They're coming up here.
Okay.
We're 1-0 right now. Actually, had our game 2 weeks ago. But you can find all my stuff and any other Notre Dame stuff possible, slapthesign.com. And then my Twitter personally is at McJunkin54. You can follow me there. I post my articles and talk, Giants, Notre Dame, college football, everything in general. So, those are the two areas. If you want to read any of my stuff, keep up with me. I'm more than happy to follow along.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Thank you. But Don, don't click off because Don. But Don, don't click off because Don wants to. Remember, he wants to talk to you.
Yeah.
So everybody. I-20 Eric said, he agreed with me that Stafford was inaccurate at Georgia. Yeah, like he had the arm talent, but that's what was frustrating because you would see it sometimes like, whoa, look at that throw, and then the next time you'd be like, who is he throwing to? Yeah. All right. I-20 Eric also that Georgia boy you went to Banneker? That Georgia boy said he played with Greg Blue at Banneker. Greg Black and Blue. Woo, he would hit you. And I-20 Eric said Claypool is definitely a top 50 player easy. That kid is huge. They gonna make him pee in the cup a couple times. That kid is huge. All right, Don, this kid is huge. All right, Don, did you have anything before to our listeners before we let them go? Oh, tell them let's tell them about. I'm sorry, this weekend again.
All right,
one more time.
So guys, it's hometown homecoming week. FILA Sports Podcast we hosting this weekend. All right. Friday, I'll be at SunTrust Park. I'll be at the Battery before the game. During the game, I'll be at the game, Giants versus the Braves. We'll be at the Gulch Saturday morning during the tailgate, the pregame for the Atlanta United match. They play against San Jose. So we're going to be down there, kicking it, hanging out with other fans. And then we'll go to the game and watch the game at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So come holler at us. And the Atlanta United fans, come holler at us that day. Also, at the end of the match, we're going to head to Grant Park. We'll go hang out at Manny's for the evening and sit back and just kick it. And I'm going to be eating. Coach will probably be drinking. And we'll be watching the Bulldogs game. And we'll be watching the Bulldogs game. Just come hang out with us. You sitting at the house ain't doing nothing. You watching on TV on your own. You might as well just come out and hang out with us. It's a good place. So, but on that note, we're gonna go ahead and end the show. We'll be back this Sunday. We'll probably be talking about Atlanta United and our experience at the tailgate. So that's what we'll probably be sharing. And then we as usual, we'll go throughout the whole scores and news for the week. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share this content out with other Atlanta sports fanatics and also Georgia college fanatics. Also share this content out. Also hit us up in the comment section. And thank you to everybody who came in and chat with us tonight. We really appreciate y'all. We enjoy, listening. We enjoy reading y'all comments. And thank you, Connor, for coming on the show, man. Exactly, man.
Knowing your stuff too. Sometimes people come over here and you can tell they don't know nothing about the team. Like, bro, you don't know.
I've had a great time talking with you guys.
Exactly. You changed my stereotype of Notre Dame fans because I just thought Notre Dame fans just loud, obnoxious. Who just wear green all the time. You're not that type of person. So we cool, man. We cool. And and you taking care of my kid up there. We're going to talk about that when we get off the show. So I really appreciate it, you coming on.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you guys for having me.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
And as always,
come
it's
holla.
the Hometown Sports Podcast. We'll see y'all later on.
Tell them boys play time's up. Tell them put the